everybody, this is Laura with Untitled Typewriters. Glad to have you. I'm going to take a look at or show you a Smith Corona Classic 12 today. Now we've repainted this one. Red is not an original color. It's just one we repainted, and this is what the front looks like. It's a manual typewriter, and it's one of the best performing manual typewriters that's an affordable price range. It's even better than some of the other ones. It's great for beginners. It's just a really good working machine. And some people have asked me, what do you think about the Classic versus the Galaxy Deluxe? Galaxy is still a great typewriter, but the Classic, I think, just feels and types better overall in general. So it really depends on the individual machine, but that's just my personal opinion on that one. Let me show you how this works. We're going to start from the back, work our way forward, and then I'm going to do a typing test for you. So this is your paper holder. You set your margins with these tabs and you just press and drag like that. When it's time to move your carriage, you just pull in the lever right here. There's no lever on this side on this one. It is missing, so just use this side. There you go. The bell sounds really good. And just know that the carriage will only move as far as you have the margins set. Now this is a 12-inch carriage, hence the name Classic 12. Classic 10 is a 10-inch carriage. And I really like the 12-inch carriage for those of you who are creatives. So if you think you're going to be doing anything remotely interesting on your typewriter, I would go with the 12-inch carriage because you have a little more flexibility. You can put your paper in landscape or portrait. You could use 11 by 14 paper. Anytime there's odd shapes, the 12-inch carriage just works really well for that. And you can also use cardstock on any typewriter, really. Okay, right here is a paper release, and I'll show you that again in a second. And then on this side, when you hit the return handle, your line selector is right here, so it'll advance 1, 2, or 3 lines. Now this button, I know it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just part of the handle. But there's a button right here, and if you press that, it releases your roller, and it helps you do fine adjusting. Let's say you have a form or lined paper that you're using, because if you turn the handle, it's just gonna click every half a line. And sometimes you can't get things to line up just right, so then you just press that in and voila. Okay, I'm gonna move the carriage to the left before I open the top because I don't want this to scrape the top. Inside you'll see a universal ribbon that we have installed. And it's slightly smaller than what the original ribbon spools were, but they work just great in the Smith Corona typewriters. So this is a two-tone. When you do change it out, black is on top, red is on bottom. Make sure you thread them through all of these guide wires properly. If you visit the link that's in the description below, it'll take you to the photos of this, and I have an up-close photo. So if you need to save that or bookmark it out for reference, when it comes time to load your ribbon, that'll be helpful, because if your ribbon's not loaded properly, your typewriter's not going to work properly. And I always load the ribbons wrong. My husband has to do it for me. So it's good to keep a photo on hand. Also, the ribbon, even though it's new in these, and I'm just speaking to those of you who get ours, the ribbon is short, but there's a lot of ink in there. So it's gonna go all the way to the end, and then your typewriter is gonna stop. And it's gonna like lock up on you, or it's gonna feel really tense. Or the font's just gonna, if it does keep typing, the font's just gonna get really, really, really faint. And if you keep going, you'll punch a hole in that ribbon because it needs to be reversed. And you do that right here on the left side. Just barely a motion, and that's what you need to do to reverse your ribbon. So the first thing to check, and this is so important, if you're typing away and your typewriter starts working not right, always, always, always check your ribbon to make sure it's threaded properly, and check to see if your ribbon needs to be reversed. So right here is a touch selector. This just determines how hard the strike bars are going to hit your paper, which determines how dark or light your font is. A lot of times I can't tell the difference, but it's up to you, your personal preference here. On the right side is color selector. In the middle here, this is your tab. You can set it here or clear it. And then this, even though it's a manual, you have a couple options down here. You have half space, regular space, and power space. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and do some typing. And I'm gonna pull this guy up a little bit. And we're gonna load a piece of paper. And I'm gonna bring in the paper guide. Paper guide is really handy for just loading it in consistently and straight. You just lightly put your paper in there and then turn the handle. I always bring the paper all the way up halfway to make sure I got it straight, which I did. But if it was crooked, then you could pull this forward and you just have to hold on to it and move your paper. Okay. If it's hitting on this, hold that. So you can move your paper freely. And once you get it where you want, where it's straight, then release. Okay, and there you go. Make sure your paper is behind this metal bar. And then also see these rubber rollers, make sure, see, especially on the larger carriages, it can end up like here, and sometimes it'll rub up against there. Just make sure those rollers are right there on the paper, okay? And I'm gonna double check margins. I'm gonna make it narrow. Let's go ahead and do some typing. So I am gonna guess, I believe, this is either a late 60s, early 70s, so we're just gonna say I'm trying to remember what it is. I think this is the 1960s. I left my notes downstairs. Smith, Corona, Classic 12. Very nice. Okay, let's test out all the keys, make sure they're doing good. Let's tab over. Shift lock is working really nice. I'm also going to check the backspace button here for you. So you just backspace like that. And the backspace comes in handy for making corrections, you know, in terms of typing over. The backspace does not erase. I don't know why everybody keeps thinking it erases. It does not erase. And so it just backspaces over, you type over, you X over, you line through, or you just go to the next line. Typewriting is imperfect, and it's beautifully imperfect, and so embrace it, enjoy it, and relax. Okay, let's keep going. Is really, the type is really dark on this one, and I even have it on the lightest setting, and it's probably because it's a new ribbon. And some people want to know, what is this? And it doesn't always work. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's engaged, but what it is, let's say you get two keys stuck up there, which is very common. It's just part of typewriting. This usually releases it. Oh, which it did. Or you can knock it down. So that's what that is for. Okay. Let's do some sentences. So the space bar is really tight. I like that because you don't have to hit it very hard. Feels really good. Okay, let's try out the red. Okay, I'm gonna keep, the ding tells you you're at the end of the line, and usually you should hit the return handle and go to the next line, but I'm gonna keep going to show you the margin release. Okay, so now the typewriter is completely stopped, and that's because I'm at the very end of my margin. So if you hit MR, I can finish my word, and now I can go to the next line. And all through the house, not a creature. A stirring, not even a mouse. Ding. Very good. All right, so one thing I have noticed on this one, I'm going to do it in the black, is, and let me just, and I will put a note. The letter N, the lowercase n, looks like it has a lot of wear on it, so it is not clear. So you can, I'll take an up-close photo of this and you can take a look at it on the product listing. Otherwise, performance is excellent. It typed very easy. This is good for kids. The only issue I saw is that the letter N is worn on it, and so it doesn't imprint in totality. So thanks so much for watching. If you have questions or comments, let me know. Visit the link in the description below to get a hold of this guy, because this is a really great guy. And you guys have a great day.